So before I start with the tier list, I need to show a bit of my credentials, you know. I'm a gold laner. Used to be a jungler. I converted to gold laner since a lot of seasons ago. So I played a lot of marksmen. You can see Beatrix, Ranger, Karrie, Bruno, Yisunshin, all the marksmen you can think of, all the meta marksmen. If anything, they are the old meta. I have around 300 plus games, most of them with 70 plus win rate. So I consider myself like a decent marksman, okay? A decent gold laner. And also, if I scroll down, Wanwan, almost 80%, less than 300 though. Clint, almost. Hanabi, Claude, Harith, Irithel, Lesley. Then after Brody, it will be less than 100 games, I believe. Okay, Miya is my last one. At 101 matches. And also Roger. Kimmy, all this. Yeah, other than that, I don't need to see anymore. Ixia, oh, I'm ranking Ixia. I am a legit gold laner. That can be a reason why you want to watch this tier list, okay? It's from a real experience. A real gold lane experience. So there are a lot of like consideration when you rank a marksman. Not just a marksman, to be honest. Any heroes in the game. There are consideration early, mid game or late game. Power spike. Power spike is another thing we need to touch about. When is the power spike of a particular hero? Like which item and which level? So for example, I'm a Harith player. My power spike will be at when I reach 30% cooldown reduction. And also, if you talk about level, they will be above level 4. Then the next thing will be considered, it will be the itemization. The characteristic of the marksman himself. So we have crit marksman. Crit marksman will be something like Miya, Layla, Bruno. Yes, Bruno. Can't forget Bruno. All of them. And then we will go to Trinity marksman. Trinity build, if you guys already know, it will be the corrosion side, demon hunter sword, and golden staff. This is what we call Trinity build. Trinity build user will be Claude. In some cases, Miya can go Trinity. Claude, Melissa, Moskov, Karrie, Hanabi. Oh my god, so many Trinity build. And also true damage. In true damage, right, we only have one, to be honest. We only have one, and that is Lesley. That will be our only true damage dealer. Then the next one will be ability to use Sea Halberd and Wind of Nature. Okay, why is this important? In some games, right, you will notice that your teammate, for some reason, no one is building anti-heal. No one is going Dominance Eyes. No one is going Glowing Wand. Just for some reason, no one is building anti-heal. In this case, this is why you need to go Sea Halberd as the marksman. So the next item we'll be considering will be Wind of Nature. Why do we consider this? It's for gold laners other than attack speed marksman. For example, a good example will be Lunox, Harith, and Kimmy. All three of them are magic based. So if you try to fit in a Wind of Nature, a physical attack item, it will be a bit weird. This is why some hero can use it, some hero cannot. This will be crucial when you are facing something like Aldos, a late game Aldos, or even Natalia. All those burst physical assassins is very useful. So you need to consider that as well. So the last point will be mobility. Mobility is a very special benchmark because right now we all know the most annoying marksman to face with is Roger, Harith, Claude. All the Moskov. All four of these. Why are they good? Why are they meta? Very easy. Because they have high mobility. For Roger, his ulti cooldown is so low. He can always dash out of team fights. And then his second skill gives you like movement speed boost. So we will talk about that when we move into the hero itself. For Harith, we all know he dash left and right in his ulti. Annoying. For Claude, second skill, teleport here and there. Very annoying. And Moskov, with his ulti, which he can teleport from one side of the map to the other side of the map. Yo, this guy can even teleport inside the enemy fountain. Okay, now we can move on. So Miya. Our first marksman in the game. Miya is considered a mid to late game hero. Because she is a crit marksman, right? You need to have enough crit rate to be able to deal damage. That will be the same for all the crit marksmen. You need to have at least minimum 1 or 2 items depending on what you are going for. Let me go back to my game. I'll show you guys the item. Wind Talker and then Berserker Fury. After these 2 items, then only she will do damage. So mid to late game, simple. So the next point will be mobility comparison. She is a stationary marksman. She has no dashes. Her spell is Inspire. You always want to use Inspire on Miya. If you remove the Inspire, her damage fell off by a lot. So always use Inspire as a Miya. But the problem is, because you are using Inspire, you don't have a Flicker, you don't have Purify. Well, your ulti already have a Purify, but you don't have Flicker, don't have Sprint. So she is not a mobile marksman. Her mobility sucks. So when I say she is a mid to late game hero, what I mean is she needs to have items to reach her power spike. Example would be your Windtalker, your Berserker Fury. If you want to include Claude, it's okay. You can sort of include it, because Claude gives her a bit of sustain and also a bunch of crit rate. 20% crit rate if you see at the bottom. 20% crit rate. It's quite a lot. So 3 items, definitely in the mid to late game. So that is her power spike after these items. And then in terms of level, getting level 4 is important because it gives you the escape. Escape and engage. Yes. For Miya, if you are a Miya user, you use your ulti to engage as well, not just escaping. So that is your so-called level power spike. But honestly, right, even if you can escape or engage, you will not have enough damage if you don't have the items. So in terms of items and level, items are more important for this hero. Then we move on to the next point. Miya is a burst, like I said, burst damage. Because her first skill actually gives you an enhanced basic attack, you can hit multiple enemies. You can sort of consider her as DPS. In terms of long range, her range got buffed by a bit. Even so, I will not consider her as a long range marksman. Why? Because when you play Miya, right, when you look at the global Miya, the seasoned Miya players, they do not attack from like a safe position. They do not stand far away, attack slowly like a Layla or something like that. They always camp in a bush. Either they surprise you from the bush, or they surprise you by using ulti to engage. They will turn invisible, then they will attack you out of nowhere. So that's how you play Miya. She will not be considered a long range marksman. She is purely burst and DPS. It's sort of like assassins, to be honest. Yeah, assassin marksman. Damn. Ability to use Sea Harbor and Wind of Nature. For Miya, because she is a crit marksman, she can use Wind of Nature, no problem. Attack speed helps her a lot. Because Miya is a crit damage dealer, means that she don't have the flexibility to go Sea Halberd. So for example, if I remove Harsh Claw, right, I will not have high enough sustain. I cannot, unless I purely depends on Wind of Nature. So I'm risking it basically. You need to trade off something if you want to build Sea Halberd. Can I remove Malefic Roar? Sure you can. You can remove Malefic Roar, go Sea Halberd, but keep in mind, if enemy build a lot of physical defense, you're still gonna need Malefic Roar. In terms of flexibility in item choice, is not the best for Miya to go with Sea Halberd. So there's a question. Is it important for Gold Laner to have a skill that can escape? For Miya, her mean of escape will be her ulti. She will turn invisible. In that instance, when you press ulti, she will remove one instance of crowd control skill. Only one, not more than one. So keep in mind, her ulti is not like a Purify that allows you... Let me show you Purify. Purify gives you crowd control immunity for 1 second, more than 1.2 seconds to be sure. 1.2 seconds. So it's immunity. Keep in mind, immunity. But for Miya, for Miya it's a different story, guys. Miya, her ulti is remove a crowd control. One instant of crowd control. So if enemy has multiple crowd control, you are still gonna get crowd control. That being said, she do have a movement speed buff when she press ulti. So that's her only escape skill. No more than that. She don't have a dash. She can't use flicker. She can't use sprint. Miya, honestly, right, I feel like she should be in B tier. Because there's a huge gap between a poor experienced Miya, not poor experience, but someone who does not know how to play Miya, compared with a global Miya, someone like Miya KY, Miya Key. There's a huge gap. If you don't know how to play Miya, C tier, no doubt. If you know how to play Miya, if you are a global Miya, S tier. So honestly, I can, at most, I can give her B tier for an average marksman. Not C tier. C tier we will save it for someone terrible. If you pick him, auto lose. We save that for C tier, okay? Not auto lose, but high chance you are losing. Enough yapping, let's move on to the next one. Layla. Early, mid game, late game. Layla, no doubt, mid to late game. Actually, late game, honestly. Layla is the same type of hero as Miya, where they are quick attack marksman. She needs crit item similar to Miya. Harsh Claw, Wind Talker, and Berserker Fury. Her power spike will be after you have enough crit rate and items. You can move on to level power spike. In this case, right, Miya, not Miya, why do I keep saying Miya? Layla, on the other hand, she can sort of rely on her skills to do damage. She does not have to keep basic attacking. So keep in mind, she can be a skill caster in the early game. If we talk about level power spike, her level 4 is actually stronger. When you reach level 4, all her skills, all 3 skills are dealing damage. You can consider level 4 as a power spike for her as well. No, before all the items, level 4 is a power spike for Layla. The thing with Layla is, in terms of mobility, yes, we are moving on to mobility. Layla's mobility is terrible, guys. First of all, she moves very slow. She walks very slow. She has no dash. Okay, her skill 1 sort of give you a movement speed boost, but other than that, she moves very slow. I'm gonna give you guys a pro tip in the meantime. So for Layla, always use Flicker. No matter if enemy has like Atlas, Tigreal, all this heavy crowd control, always use Flicker. You can't afford to use Purify. Why? Because if you use Purify, let's say Atlas ulti you or Tigreal ulti you. Nice, you purify them, but what are you gonna do after that? You can't even run away. So basically, if you are caught, you are caught. Even if you have Purify, you are still caught. Because you can't run away, you don't have a dash. So her only spell, right, her only viable spell will be Flicker. Then we will move on to long range, burst, or DPS. Okay, for Layla, we all know her range is the highest, the longest in the game. Long range for sure. Burst? Yes. Why do I consider burst? Crit damage, crit attack. If you are building crit, you are always a burst attack. So on top of crit attacks, she is a spell caster. If you combine her spell attack and her crit basic attack, her burst attack is like insane. It's gonna be insane if you can land everything. Is she a DPS? In this case, I will consider her a DPS marksman because of her playstyle. She is long range, remember? She is long range. So what will happen in a team fight is Layla will always be at the back line. She will always try to use her maximum range to attack you. What that means is she can always safely attack you. Let's say if you are in her range, she will always spam that basic attack and attack you. That's why I'll consider her as a DPS, all because she can consistently output damage. Then we'll move on to Sea Halberd and Wind of Nature. So for Layla, similar to Miya, so Wind of Nature, no doubt, can be used. If anything, right, Wind of Nature should be one of the core items in the late game. Then Sea Halberd. If we talk about Sea Halberd, it will be the similar problem faced by Miya, which is she needs these items, guys. Harsh Claw, Wind Talker, and Berserker Fury. She needs to have a high enough crit chance to deal crit damage, to deal crit attack. So either you can swap with Boots, or you swap with this, Malefic Roar. So if you swap with Malefic Roar, you face the same problem. If enemy has like Blade Armor, a lot of physical defense, you'll be doing no damage. So it really depends on team comp. Honestly, Malefic Roar is way better on her. So she is not a marksman that you need to go see Halberd. Now that we're done with these points, so what do I think of Layla as a whole? Layla, honestly, C tier if you want to play her. No matter what you play, right? Epic rank, Legend rank, Mythic rank, Immortal rank, whatever star, 500 stars, oh my god. MPL, M5 World Championship, MSC, no matter what rank you are in, Layla will always be C tier, no doubt. One of my chat pointed out a very good point, which is she is a late game marksman, remember? A late game marksman. So what it means, right? She will only have an impact in the late game. So by the time you reach late game, right, you might actually just lose the game before you even reach late game. So you have a chance of losing the game before you even hit your power spike. So yep, C tier for sure. You can't even play her. You can't even enjoy her before the game ends. But honestly, because she is our tutorial teacher, she teaches us how to play Mobile Legends. Everyone played Layla once in their life. Layla, honestly, right, best teacher. She shall be placed in the best teacher category. Mascot of MLBB, mascot. I thought Miya is a mascot. Is Layla the mascot? I'm pretty sure Miya is a mascot, right? Wait, you never touched Layla before? I thought when you enter the game, you are forced to play Layla. Tutorial hero. Yeah, tutorial hero sounds better. Tutorial hero sounds better. Because teacher, honestly, everyone can be a teacher. So, next marksman. Let's talk about Hanabi. Hanabi is a very special hero, guys. Hanabi. So before I start with the tier list, guys, if you guys didn't know, I'm a Malaysia Hanabi, guys. Top Malaysia Hanabi. Oh wait, more than a Malaysia Hanabi. I'm a global Hanabi, guys. My highest was Malaysia number 2. So in case you guys want to know, highest is Malaysia number 2. Hanabi is a very unique hero. Why would I say that? Because Hanabi, she immune to crowd control. Unlike Miya, who can purify crowd control skill, Hanabi immune crowd control. The keyword is immune. Not remove, but immune. So first thing first, early, mid, late. What kind of marksman is she? Honestly, I'll consider her an early game and late game hero. So what it means is, when you start the game, pre-level 4, you know, pre-level 4, she will have an advantage against enemy marksman. She can draw the enemy marksman very well. But then after you reach level 4, this is where a problem comes. She sort of stuck at level 4 and beyond. That is when she needs to sort of rely on items to do damage. So mid-game, she's gonna suffer. Until late game, where she has items, right? Then only she will come back online and start to dominate the game. So early and late game hero, not a mid hero. Okay, this is what you expect a Hanabi to build. So before I say anything, Hanabi is a Trinity build marksman. She needs the Trinity build item. You can't go quick item on her. I tried it before, it sucks. So always go Trinity build on Hanabi. So now if we move back the topic, power spike, where? It will be this item, this specific item, golden staff. That will be your power spike. In terms of level, technically she does not rely too much on level. She is tied to what kind of items you have. So golden staff. Mobility comparison. This is another special thing about Hanabi is, for Hanabi, right, she does not have a dash. But then her skill 1 provides you movement speed boost, as well as crowd control immunity. So crowd control immunity includes stun, knockup, pushback, slow, all this, except for suppression. She can immune everything except for suppression. This is how good her immune is. In terms of mobility, right, she will have extra movement speed boost after using her skill 1. But then because her skill 1 sort of immune slow effect and a lot of crowd control, you can sort of give an advantage in Hanabi, because even though she has a movement speed boost, she can still run away from enemy. All because you cannot stun her. You cannot trap her, you cannot stun her, you cannot lock in. Next, long range burst or DPS. For Hanabi, I will consider her as long range. Why? It's because her passive, her basic attack passive is she can bounce her damage. When she basic attack someone, it will bounce. So you can sort of reach their backline. Burst? No, she is definitely not a burst marksman, guys. To be honest, all the Trinity build are not burst marksman. DPS, yes, she is a DPS. Because, like I said, Trinity build, all Trinity build are DPS. And then if you add on long range from her basic attack, so definitely a DPS marksman. No doubt. Ability to use Sea Halberd. For Trinity build, Corrosion Sight, Demon Hunter Sword, Golden Staff. That is 3 items in your item slot. All you have left is 2. What are you gonna build? Let's say you are going against a physical defense heavy team. Enemy go like Blade Armor, Dominance Eyes, Antique, whatever physical defense, right? You will need this. You will need Malefic Roar. But guys, for my experience, right, for Trinity build marksman, you can sort of ignore this. Go with Sea Halberd, no problem. Honestly, for my opinion, I actually go Sea Halberd after my power spike items, my Trinity items. Because if you look at Sea Halberd, right, let me move my... If you look at Sea Halberd, it provides you attack speed, 20% attack speed. And then we go back to the fundamentals of a Trinity build. You trigger the item passive, you know, the DHS and Corrosion Sight item passive. What Golden Staff do is it will double your passive. So how do you trigger your passive even more? It is by attacking faster. So if you look at Sea Halberd, it provides you 20% attack speed. So it actually synergizes well with you, the Trinity build user. So having Sea Halberd as your core item, quite decent, honestly, it's a good experience. Then if we talk about Wind of Nature, honestly, from my experience playing Hanabi, you don't really need Wind of Nature. All because for Hanabi players, Aegis is your best spell. So by having Aegis as your spell, you are already tankier than like other marksmen. On top of that, your first skill actually provides a bit of shield. So instead of going Wind of Nature, right, which she does not need it, she don't need Wind of Nature honestly, you can go with something like this, Rose Gold Meteor. Then she will have even more shield, she will become Esmeralda. Okay, one of my chat pointed out another good point is, for Hanabi, right, her bounce, her passive, when you basic attack, if you bounce and reach the backline, if you reach the other target. So this basic attack, the bounce petals, right, if you also trigger the item passive, something like a Sea Halberd, the passive is when you hit somebody, you have anti-heal on that person. In this case, the bounce petal, the petal bouncing onto another target, will also trigger anti-heal. So keep in mind, Sea Halberd is extremely good for her. My honest thought, is Hanabi a good hero? She is definitely a tier below Miya. From an ex-global Hanabi player, if you know how to play her, if you know how to integrate her into your team, right, she can be A tier. Not S tier, but A tier. She can be A tier for sure. If you know what you are doing, if you know enemy is heavy in terms of crowd control skills, Hanabi is like one of the best marksmen you can play. If enemy has like Kufra, if you feel like, and there's no Kufra at all because you use Hanabi. So more of a niche counter pick. So because from someone who knows how to play Hanabi, I know her potential is S tier, no doubt. But then I also know that for some people, right, they don't know how to use Hanabi. What will happen is they do not abuse her crowd control immunity. They do not build Trinity build. They go crit damage build, like holy shit. And their spell is wrong. They are not using Aegis. So in that case, she is a trash marksman, guys. Also, she don't have a dash. So if you don't know how to position, she sucks. She is a B tier marksman if you know what you're doing. But most people don't know what they're doing. C tier. So let's move on. Next one will be Harith. A special boy, a mage, but then got pushed away into gold lane because he is one of the best gold laner. Personally, I'm a supreme Harith, so I have a lot of experience playing Harith. First point, early, mid to late game. Early game, yes. Mid game, yes. Huh? Early and mid game? For sure. Late game he sucks, right? No. Late game also. Yo, Harith is a special case, guys. Harith is good early till the late game. He's a good hero that scales from early game to late game. That's why he's the meta, guys. Anyway, power spike. Where? Power spike, very simple. If I look at the items, I'll use the typical build. Typical build is this. In one of my videos that I've done previously, I have sort of made a guide about Harith. So one of the basics of Harith is you must achieve a cooldown reduction of 30% minimum. It is a requirement because if your cooldown is less than 30%, you will be unable to spam your dashes. So if you guys are interested, go check it out. Go check out the video. I'll link it in this video as well. So where is the power spike? The power spike is here. These two items. This is the power spike. After you complete these two items, you are good to go. You are good to spam your skills, guys. You can now spam your second skill. But keep in mind, you have to have a mage emblem using a cooldown reduction talent. Any details, just watch my Harith guide. All the things you need to know about Harith is there. After a video, you can play Harith like a global, no problem. So the power spike is here, these two items. In terms of leveling, he will reach level 4 before you have a 30% cooldown reduction. So in this case, he is not bound by a level. However, getting level 4 do help a lot. Because by using your ulti, even though you can't spam your second skill, right, you can still lower your second skill cooldown. You can't spam it, but you will still lower the cooldown. So it still helps. Next will be long range, burst, or DPS. Long range, nah. His range is very short. Burst, when you play Harith, your first skill deals like insane damage, your first skill. So your first skill basically has this circular area. If enemy is inside, if you crit and deal more damage. So if you can land that, plus your enhanced basic attack, if you deal a lot of damage. Keep in mind, one of his power spike item is Stallion Sight. Your basic attack will have a extra true damage after you cast a skill. It will only add on to your burst damage. So yep, burst damage hero. DPS, he is a DPS. Why? It's because he can spam his second skill. But then, keep in mind, you need to have your ulti and also your 30% cooldown. Mobility comparison. This is quite simple. I'm pretty sure everyone faced a Harith before. It's basically a cat that dash left and right. So his mobility is like crazy, guys. Ability to use Sea Halberd and Wind of Nature. Okay, in this case, right? I will not talk about Sea Halberd, but Glowing Wand. If you were to ask me, can you replace Glowing Wand with Holy Crystal? Like any of these items? From my experience, no. You do not replace any of the item with Glowing Wand. Why? It's because he's a burst damage dealer, like I said just now. Her main target, right, is to go full damage, and also he has a prerequisite which is to meet 30% cooldown reduction. So this guy, right, has a mission to fulfill. Without this Holy Crystal, right, I'm pretty sure your damage fell off like quite a lot. You really need this Holy Crystal. Go back to tell this. How do I compare Harith? Like I said, he scales very well from the early to late game. He scales extremely well, if anything. His power spike comes right after 2 items, which is a lot better than crit item marksman and also Trinity build. So his power spike comes early, much earlier than all the other marksmen. In terms of mobility, one of the most mobile gold laner you can have, legit. So yep, S tier, no doubt. The only problem with Harith I can see is his difficulty. Not everyone can play Harith. So not just difficulty, right? You need to have good ping. If your Wi-Fi is lagging, you can't even dash. Next target will be Kimmy. Another mage hero, guys. Another mage hero. Honestly, Kimmy is a sassy hero, if I want to label her. Very sus. Because why? Her early game sucks. Her mid game sucks. So if you remove both of these, you only have late game. Same problem with Layla. The game could have just ended before you reach late game. So move on to power spike. Where is her power spike? So let's grab a very common build, okay? A common build. If I were to play Kimmy, this is what I would build. This second build. Why do I say she has no early game and mid game? Because, right, even though you go Arcane Boots that provides 10 magic penetration, and then second item, you go something like Genius Wand, which reduces enemy magic defense. Even with these 2 items, right, when you play Kimmy, you feel like nothing is happening. You have no damage at all for some reason. It's just a hero problem. She got over nerfed, we can say. And then, if you want to ask where exactly is the power spike, right, I can tell you it's after she built Holy Crystal. But keep in mind, Holy Crystal is extremely expensive. You can only like buy it after like mid and late game. In terms of level, she technically don't have a level power spike. All her ulti does is a long range AoE attack. But then you don't even have damage, right? You don't even have damage. So even if you can use your ult, you don't have damage. So now look at long range burst or DPS. Her range is not long. She has no burst damage. DPS, sure, after your Holy Crystal. Mobility. In terms of mobility, she is a bit special where she can attack while moving, same as Irithel. On top of that, she also has a dash in her second skill. So by having these 2 mechanics in her, she is considered as a very mobile hero, you can say. So the next thing will be the ability to use anti-heal and also Wind of Nature. Keep in mind, Kimmy is a magic-based marksman. Although she does scale a bit with physical attacks, you do not want to go Wind of Nature because whatever Wind of Nature provides, right, it does not help her at all. So don't build Wind of Nature unless you are desperate. Glowing Wand for her is good because she does not have a lot of damage. What happened to Kimmy is you sort of rely on this Glowing Wand passive to deal damage in the early game. So she is a very compatible marksman to use Glowing Wand. You can always use this item like part of a core item. So if you go back here, list, what do I feel about Kimmy? Honestly, nowadays, right, if you see a Kimmy on the enemy side, you are happy. Early game, you are pretty sure you have an advantage because she's not going to do anything. She is not going to do anything, honestly. On top of that, right, Kimmy, her energy drains like very fast. So after all the nerfs, C tier, man, C tier. Behind Hanabi for sure. She is behind Hanabi for sure. So let's move on to Bruno. Early, mid or late game? Early game to mid game. I will not consider him late game hero because for my own experience, right, Bruno late game actually don't feel as overwhelming as other marksmen. Like you never talk about Bruno late game is scary. You always talk about Bruno early game and mid game is scary. So this is why I consider him as early to mid game. So power spike where? Very simple. For Bruno, what you will do is you always build Husk Claw as your first item. His power spike is Husk Claw. Because right, in the early game, enemy will never build Husk Claw as the first item. By having Husk Claw, right, Bruno's passive gives you extra crit rate. Husk Claw already gives you like a ton of crit rate. So in the early game, you can already consistently crit your basic attack. And on top of that, you can have a sustain. Hardcore provide a lot of sustain for Bruno. By having this as a first item, you are already better than a lot of marksmen in the early game. So this is his early game power spike. So if you want to talk about mid game power spike, then I will say it's Berserker Fury, where if he crits, if you hit harder. In terms of level, Bruno don't really care about level. It's more onto items. Long range or burst or DPS. Bruno, I will consider him not as long range. Burst, yes, because he is a crit attack. He is a critical reliant marksman. So burst damage for sure. DPS, nah. He is not a DPS. If you play Bruno, right, if you crit, that is good. But sometimes you don't crit. That is where your damage fell off like instantly. In terms of mobility, his second skill gives you a dash. And also, you can stun enemy. Not a lot of marksmen can stun enemy or cancel skill or whatever. On top of that, right, Bruno actually does not rely on spell that much. He can use Speaker, he can use Purify, AG, Inspire, whatever you want. So if you want to include Purify and Flicker into his hit, then yes, he is very mobile. He can dash with second skill, he can use Flicker to get out from fight. So he is very mobile if you want to use Flicker. Next thing is ability to use Sea Halberd and Wind of Nature. Bruno, right, cannot synergize that well with Sea Halberd because they need to have a minimum crit chance, right, to be able to crit. Bruno, even though his passive allows him to have extra crit rate, you still sort of need one more crit item to be comfortable. At least from my experience, you need at least 3 crit items to be comfortable critting your basic attack. So if you put in Wind Talker, where do you put Sea Halberd? There's no longer a space for you to put Sea Halberd, guys. Wind of Nature, you need it. Why? Because Bruno, like I said, he is not a long range attacker. Even though he has good mobility, he is sort of a bruiser, you know? He is someone you fight by going all in. He's that type of marksman. When you fight someone, you want to go all in. Dive turret or whatever you want. All in. Crit the hell out of your basic attack. Burst them down. So because of that, he is constantly in a dangerous position. This is why you need Wind of Nature. So that is that. Bruno. Not bad, not bad. Decent marksman. But then if you ask me, what is his tier, right? Whenever I see a Bruno, my first impression is early game, ouch. Early game, it hurts. But I'm never afraid of, oh, late game, am I afraid of Bruno gonna come back? Something like Miya. You're afraid of Miya gonna come back, right, every time. But for Bruno, right, I'm only scared of early game and mid game. If you can snowball with Bruno, he is one of the best. A tier, if you can snowball. Even S tier if you are critting for 100%, right? If you can crit for 100%, oh my god, for sure S tier. But you can't. you can't crit for 100%. So at most A tier, because random, you know, random crit chance. But then, keep in mind, if you cannot snowball, if you are playing a losing game, that means your early game is gone, your mid game is gone, and then your late game, you don't even have a late game. So out of nowhere, he fell into C tier. Top of C tier for sure. Top of C tier. Okay, maybe not C tier, but low B tier. Low B tier. So these are two extreme cases, right? There are two extreme cases. So what I can rate him is at the start of B tier. For sure at the start of B tier. Okay, after we rate the A tier, then we will sort of see if Bruno can move up or not. Probably behind A tier or something like that. So that is Bruno. B for Bruno, right guys? B for Bruno. Lesley, very special case. Early game, nah, no early game. Mid game, if you are snowballing, maybe. But for sure, late game. Lesley is another late game hero. No doubt. So power spike where? After BOD, guys. Her power spike is after BOD. Depending BOD or Sea Halberd, depending on which item you are. But I'll say the 4th attack item. So after the 4th item is where you will get a power spike. In terms of level, there is pretty much not a big difference. Your level 4 sort of give you like vision on the map. That's all. Vision on the map. And also another passive that you can use. That's it. So don't really care about level. You care about the power spike more. Long range, yes, she has one of the longest range if anything. Burst, for sure. She deals true damage that you cannot immune. She deals true damage that can melt tanks easily. Because you know, true damage goes through everything. And on top of that, is she a DPS? She is not a DPS, guys. At most, right? At most, Lesley can squeeze in 4 enhanced basic attack. After the 4th one, you need to wait for your cooldown to be done for another true damage attack. So not a DPS, more of a burst damage marksman. So mobility. Is she a mobile marksman? She, in fact, is very not mobile. Immobile marksman. First skill allows her to move fast and invisible, which is good. Second skill is a dash, but it's technically not a dash, it's more onto a knockback. She does not dash very far behind. So next will be ability to use Sea Halberd going one on Wind of Nature. She can use Sea Halberd. It's actually very good on her. So she can use anti-heal, very good. But keep in mind, she is single target. So your Sea Halberd anti-heal passive will only work onto that specific target. Lesley, what do I feel about Lesley? I have seen global Lesley play before. Insane damage. But survivability, right? Ooh, she is not good. She does not have survivability at all. After all of that, right? Lesley, in my opinion, should be somewhere in the middle of Miya and Bruno. Why? First of all, she's a late game hero. Because she's a late game hero, early to mid game, you'll be doing nothing. Your damage is very, like, it won't impact the game so much. Unless your team is snowballing, that is good. She is easier to use than Miya, however, right? Because her range, right? Her range is further than Miya. What it means is, even though you are bad in positioning, you will still be able to hit the enemy from a safe distance. Yeah. So, above Miya, for the common marksman players, right? Gold laners, she is above Miya for sure. Next will be Irithel. Irithel, guys. Irithel. Is Irithel a early mid game or late game hero? I will consider her early game and late game. Early game, why? Because she is a skill caster. Her first skill and second skill deals like insane damage in the early game. Okay, in the early game. Once you enter the mid game, you'll be relying on your basic attack more. So you need items. This is why her mid game will fall off a bit. But then once you get all your items right, her late game is actually quite scary. All the crit items, then you'll be bursting down hero. So power spike, where she is a crit attack marksman, similar to Miya, similar to Layla. What it means is she will need these items, Windtalker, Hushclaw, and Berserker Fury, as her power spike. In terms of levels, you can sort of say her level 4 is a power spike because it provides enhanced basic attack, right? If you combine that with her skill 1 defense down, you can actually deal a lot of damage. But keep in mind, she is a crit attack marksman, so you still need to crit to deal insane damage. Long range, nah, ain't no long range. She is short range. Burst, if you time her skills properly, with your crit, you must make sure you crit. She can be a burst marksman, but mostly, right, she is a DPS because she is very mobile. So if we move into the next category, mobility comparison, she is one of the more mobile marksmen because she can attack while moving. She can sort of use her ulti as a dash because her initial stage of her ulti is you can dash first before activating your enhanced basic attack. So you can sort of count her ulti as a dash. But again, it's an ulti, cooldown will be longer than your usual dash. But because of this advantage you have, right, in terms of mobility, she can consistently kite the enemy and poke them. This is why I'll label her as a sort of a DPS. Ability to use Sea Halberd, going one, and Wind of Nature. So Wind of Nature, it synergizes well with her, so you can use it for sure, no problem. But in terms of Sea Halberd, right, if enemy has too much physical defense, then Sea Halberd won't help you at all. It's still much better to go Malefic Roar. So you can go Sea Halberd, no problem. She's still synergized well with Sea Halberd, but it's not a must to beat her. So in desperate cases, you can go with Sea Halberd, no problem. So what do I think about Irithel? She is another crit attacker. It will be quite similar to other crit damage dealer for sure. Because, right, Irithel has the ability to kite people, move around freely. It's easier for players to position better with Irithel. Her difficulty is much lower than, let's say, Lesley or Miya. And because of that, Irithel is better than Lesley and Miya. All because she can kite while moving. Is it above Bruno? Hell no. Bruno is still better than Irithel. I have a feeling that Bruno might move into A tier, guys. I have a feeling. Because Bruno is way better than all of this. Let's settle Clint. Clint is another special marksman. Why is he special? He is more of a skill caster. He will abuse the enhanced basic attack and also the endless battle passive. So if you look at the items, right, endless battle will always be his core item. Because he is a skill caster, early game for sure he will have the advantage. So because he's a crit build, right, he sort of scales early to the late game. Why? Because early game you rely on your skills to do damage. After that, right, mid to late game you rely on your crit. So if you combine both of them, right, he scales very well from early to the late game. I will say his power spike is the first item. Endless battle. Most people build endless battle first, by the way. They go endless battle, then only you go boots. So endless battle is his core item. after your endless battle, right, you can start abusing the passive, which is the true damage passive. You can just spam skills and use your extremely long range to hit the enemy. In terms of level 4 helps a lot because level 4 you can store charges, right, in your ulti skill. By storing charges, you can spam it. By spamming the skills, you can keep repeating your endless battle passive. You can keep triggering your true damage. So, is he a long range marksman? Yes. His range is, if not one of the longest, same as Lesley. His passive is very far away. So long range marksman, yes. Burst marksman, for sure. DPS, no. Again, skill caster and crit damage, crit attacker, they are always burst. Unless you have another reason why you are DPS, they are always burst damage. So he's a long range burst damage marksman. In terms of mobility, he is not mobile at all. His second skill gives you a small dash while stunning the enemy. But then, right, whenever, because he is a skill caster, like I said, whenever you cast a skill or enhance basic attack, you are stationary. You can't move like Irithel. You are basically on the spot. You are just standing there whenever you cast a skill or cast a enhanced basic attack. So in terms of mobility, he sucks. He has low mobility. But the good thing about him is you can use Flicker because, you know, you don't need Inspire. You can use Purify as well. Purify and Flicker. These two items are the best for him. Okay, let's start with Wind of Nature first because he is not a basic attacker, right? He attacks slow. He deals burst damage. You want to stack on as high attack stats as possible. So this is where BOD and Hunter Swag comes in. Give him high attack numbers. But there is a good thing about Clint is because his range is very far, very long, you can sort of hit enemy from a safe distance. So your survivability in like naturally it will be better than other marksmen. So you don't really need Wind of Nature. Then Sea Halberd. Can you use Sea Halberd? If you look at Clint's items, right, you want to stack on as high attack stats as possible. Sea Halberd gives you 75 if I'm not wrong. Although it gives you 80. It's similar to Hunter Strike if anything. Let's say you really need anti-heal. You can just sacrifice a bit of your cooldown reduction for Sea Halberd. So you can have anti-heal. So it sort of synergizes. The high physical attack gives you, it stacks on with Clint. Okay, it stacks on with Clint's true damage, so it helps a lot. That is Clint. What do I feel about him? Honestly, right, after the recent buff on Clint, where his early game is dealing more damage, right, he is in fact A tier. He is way ahead of all these marksmen, by the way. He should be anything close to S or A tier, in the middle. So while my chat has said Clint has high flexibility in his itemization, true. This is also true. For Clint, right, like I said before, like when I start talking about Clint, you can go either full attack without the crit, or you go with semi-crit. You have a Berserker Fury in it. Then another way of building Clint is semi-tank. You go Thunderbelt first, so you are tanky a bit. You can still use the true damage. So it's very flexible when you use Clint. So that's another advantage. So A tier for Clint. So let's move on to Ixia. Early, mid game or late game. She scales very well from early game to the late game. So power spike where for Ixia, right, she's a special case because she does not go with crit item. She also does not go with Trinity build. Okay, this is the typical item. So what you need on her is actually attack speed and higher physical attack stats. So the power spike happens when you have your level 4. But once you hit the level 4 is where you have an AoE attack, right? You can zone people, you can fight people under the turret, all of this. So his power spike is more onto level power spike. Long range burst or DPS. She is a long range marksman, all because her ulti hits very far. Burst damage, why? Because she is a skill caster. You can combo her ulti with second skill and first skill, then boom, all of a sudden you do a lot of damage. Keep in mind, she also gain a bit of sustain when attacking. Her passive is when you hit 3 times, she will life steal back a bit. In a long fight, if you keep attacking against the Ixia, she will actually have an advantage because she has high sustain. So DPS for sure. Mobility, let's move on to mobility. She has digital mobility. If you are using Ixia, please use Flicker. Don't even think about Purify, just use Flicker. So ability to use Sea Halberd. Sea Halberd is actually one of her core items. Like I said, she needs an item that gives you attack speed and also give you high physical attack stats. So Sea Halberd actually synergizes with her extremely well. Wind of Nature, you can build it. No problem building Wind of Nature because she has no mobility, right? So you sort of need a bit of sustain. So that's it for Ixia. In this current meta, we are facing against assassins, a lot of assassins. So having no mobility kind of sucks, honestly. But then her damage is very consistent, and also she has long range, right? So that puts her like, yeah, that already puts her above someone who has a later power spike and also reliant on items. So from my experience, Ixia should be above Irithel and Lesley and Miya and all of this. She should be above them. Next will be Brody. Brody. Is he a late game, early game, or mid game hero? Early game, before level 4, his basic attack is very high, but the thing is he attacks extremely slow. Power spike is level 4. Once you hit level 4, you will be dealing big PP damage. In terms of items, I guess first item, second item, like after Sea Halberd, right, you'll be dealing a lot of damage already. So first item already strong enough. So if you ask long range, nah, he has middle range. Burst, yes, he is a burst marksman. DPS, nah, you can't really fight people in the long fight because you attack very slow. If you have a chance to keep attacking enemy, even though you attack very slow, then your enemy just sucks. In terms of mobility, his second skill is sort of a dash. He will stun an enemy, and then she dash from the enemy. Not the best mobility, but better than having none. Ability to use Sea Halberd or Wind of Nature. Okay, this is a bit tricky. So if we look at the pro setups, right? Everyone go Wind of Nature. Why? Like, even though Wind of Nature does not synergize well with Brody, right? Like, Brody does not attack fast and all, but then Wind of Nature allows him to add stacks onto the enemy. So while you are immune, while you survive for 1 or 2 seconds more, you can add more stacks onto the enemy. So in that period, right, the 2 or 3 stacks that you can fit in when you are immune, it helps you kill the enemy when you press the ulti. So this is why Wind of Nature is quite important on him. Another thing is because he has no mobility skill, so Wind of Nature helps him survive better. Sea Halberd, you can consider Sea Halberd in your build, but for his spell, because it's not mobile, always try to use Flicker. Yep. So how is Brody? Brody, honestly, it's been a long time since I see Brody. Okay, if enemy can touch you before you touch them, then Brody sucks. Because he attacks too slow, way too slow. But then I still need to give him the benefit of his early game potential, right? His early game potential is actually quite strong. The problem is he attacks way too slow, so people can just like dash away or just walk away from him. So if you know how to play Brody, maybe you can be good. But for now, I think Brody is below Lesley, because in the late game, Brody gonna lose for sure. Late game, Lesley gonna destroy everyone. But Brody don't have the late game advantage. We have a lot of people in B tier, guys. It's time to move up some of them. Bruno, okay, I'll give Bruno the benefit of being A tier. Because Bruno, his kit is too good, honestly. Next. Who will be next? Popol, guys. Popol is early to mid. Late game, Popol will have a trouble keeping the dog alive. That's just the reality. Popol will have trouble keeping the dog alive in the late game. So it's more onto an early to mid game. If you can snowball, then good. If you can't snowball, you are dead. So power spike is level 4. Level 4 is your power spike. In terms of Popol, right, his level is more important than items. So if you can reach level 4 fast, you get your enhanced doggo, your good puppy, make him a buff ass dog. What's his name? Kupa, right? Yeah, Kupa. Level 4, right, your Kupa becomes insane. Your Kupa will turn Super Saiyan. So this is your power spike. Level 4 power spike. Items, you can go whatever items, to be honest. People tend to go first item BOD, but it's up to you. In terms of items, he's quite flexible. But the level is more important. Long range, if you want to consider his dog attacking from far away, yes. But his basic attack is quite short. Burst damage, yes, for sure. He is a burst damage. DPS is only where your dog is smart enough to keep attacking the same person. So I will not consider that because your dog is quite random. So burst damage, he is definitely a burst marksman. Then mobility wise, Popol has 0 mobility. Yeah, straight up 0 mobility. So you either use Flicker, Sprint or Purify as your mobility item, spell. If not, then some people even use Aegis of Vengeance on Popol, which is crazy because Popol is those type of marksmen where you kill before they kill you. You know, that you kill the enemy before they kill you. So he is that type of marksman. And then ability to use Sea Halberd and Wind of Nature. Like I said, his item, right, is actually quite flexible. Why? Because he relies on leveling up instead. Get to level 4 your power spike. Then after that you can do whatever you want. Okay, your dog can trigger the passive such as crit, DSS, and true damage, but so it's quite flexible for him to go with anything. There is that. Very flexible, very flexible. But the thing is, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't like Popol. Why? Because Popol is, like I said earlier, he's an all-in type of marksman. All in. Kill the enemy before they kill you. That's his only way of winning. If you are behind as a Popol, there's no way you can win. So because of that alone, he should be placed somewhere like somewhere below Miya. Yeah, actually below Hanabi. Honestly, below Hanabi. Hanabi can counter Popol, by the way. If you guys don't know that, Hanabi can counter Popol. But then I need to say this in case you guys are confused. Popol, his specialty is where you use him to push the enemy, push their turret. So he's one of the best pusher in this game. So if you are those type of Popol that use him to only push the enemy, you use Vengeance or Aegis to survive, all in, you go all in, then maybe he can move up to A tier. But honestly, not many people play Popol like that. If you can play Popol like that, you can play Popol like to that level, you are probably a Popol main or something, a Popol global or anything. So it's a bit uncommon. So this is the reason why I put him below Hanabi. Let's cover Moskov, guys. Let's cover Moskov. Moskov early, mid or late game. Technically he needs his item, but you can see Moskov dominating the early game before, right? You guys see it before. I'll consider him as a mid to late game hero because he is a Trinity build user. Trinity build user, they require items to function. So Power Spike is where you reach the Trinity items. Before that, he's decent. Actually, right, before he completes his Trinity build, he actually have an advantage against other Trinity build user because his first skill provides you extra attack speed, and then your second skill, right, actually has a decent amount of damage. That's before you stun them. So second skill plus attack speed, you can actually deal a lot of damage. On top of that, you are using Inspire, so you can actually deal like a lot of damage in the game. But still, that's cheating, right? You use Inspire, so mid to late game. Power Spike, same thing as other Trinity build. You need 3 items, Trinity build item. In terms of level, nah, he's tied into items more than level. So prioritize your item. Long range, nah. Short range. Burst, not really a burst type. DPS for sure. He's a DPS. All the Trinity build are DPS. So Moskov. Why is he so special? It is because of this, guys. Mobility. He is extremely mobile. First skill gives you dash, and then whenever you trigger his passive, right, your cooldown will be reduced. On top of that, you are using Golden Staff, which help you trigger your passive even more. So your first skill cooldown is basically very fast. It's like instant. Not instant, but very fast. Very low cooldown. So you can keep dashing. But the best case about him is not about the first skill. It's more to the ulti. So his ulti is, you throw your ult to a random target, anywhere in the map. If you hit that target, you can dash from there. Basically, outdoors ulti. If you can hit somebody, it becomes outdoors ulti. So for marksman, right, those kind of mobility skills, Unseen, he's the first one. So this is actually the only reason I believe he has been in the meta for so long. Even after the nerf, he is still in meta. All because of that ulti, the global ulti. So for Moskov, right, his item, you can use any of the build. But keep in mind, Trinity build, he always gonna need Corrosion Sight, Golden Staff, and DSS. This is his core item. Ooh, Sea Halberd. It gives you attack speed. It always works. But honestly, I prefer Wind of Nature more than that because he's always in a dangerous spot. He needs to survive. So yeah, that's his item. Also, Inspire is a very good item. But in some cases, right, if enemy has a lot of crowd control, feel free to use Purify. I tried it before. Moskov don't really need Inspire. So there is that. Moskov. Very mobile. S tier. Yeah, definitely S tier. His pressure is throughout the map, guys. He can split push. Yes, pressure throughout the entire map. It's just insane. Okay, one of my chat asked which marksman easily counters Moskov. If you are asking overall kit, someone who can match his mobility as well as his damage, then Claude. Claude is one of the best marksmen to go against Moskov. You can also consider some of the meta picks. Harith can counter Moskov. How? By using Vengeance. If you take away Vengeance, then Harith might lose to Moskov. And then if you look into Roger, Roger can win against Moskov. But besides that, you can just play better. Ask your team for help. Ask your team for help. Basically, if you face against a good Moskov, right, you need someone who can split push and not lose to Moskov. S tier. No doubt. S tier. Next. Beatrix. Oh my god. Early game, yes. Mid game, yes. Late game, yes. Okay, keep in mind. Beatrix attack is insane. Her damage is insane. She has all the damage in the world. The only problem is her survivability. So same thing as Clint. Whenever you attack, you are stationary. So you when you keep attacking, they are dealing damage, but then you are stationary, right? People can just either run away or just try to outplay you. You are vulnerable to mage, assassins, all those. So her item, full damage, full damage. She cannot crit. She cannot use Trinity build. So you can only go one way, which is full damage. Power spike is when you, honestly, right, after your first damage item, that is where your power spike is. Because her first item is BOD. You always try to build Fury Hammer first, follow up with a BOD. After this, right, you do insane damage. So that is your power spike. In terms of level 4, definitely. In some cases, right, weapon like shotgun, the grenade launcher helps you clear lane faster. Also helps you in an AoE situation. Shotgun helps you camp in the bushes. Then the machine gun AoE scenario as well. Sniper in the early game, you don't really deal a lot of damage. But yeah, level 4 helps a lot because again, she cannot crit. She cannot use Trinity build. She relies on her skills. So long range, is she long range? If you use sniper, yes. If you use shotgun, no. Beatrix is a burst damage dealer. No doubt. I said before, she has insane damage. Her problem is survivability. DPS, is she a DPS? She is a burst damage marksman, not DPS. Keep in mind. If you stay longer in the team fight, you will die. You have no sustain. Mobility, she only has a dash. Second skill dash, that's the only skill. But then, she can use Flicker, no problem. Her spell choice is actually quite flexible. She can use Flicker, Aegis, Vengeance, Purify, all this. Not Inspire though, don't use Inspire on her. So you can sort of use Flicker to boost your mobility. Or use Aegis to boost your survivability. So ability to use Sea Halberd, she does not scale with critical damage or Trinity build. So Sea Halberd fits her perfectly. Wind of Nature, again, no survivability. You are stationary when you attack. So if having a Wind of Nature helps a lot in her kit. And also it provides lifesteal and attack speed. Synergize with Beatrix very well. So feel free to use both of these, no problem. So what do I feel of Beatrix? What do I feel? As a Beatrix main with almost 400 games, 70 above win rate. Beatrix, if you know how to use her, behind Ixia. If you don't know how to use her, you are bad at positioning, right? Then she will be behind Irithel, same level as Lesley. No, actually below Lesley. Because right, Lesley you can fight from far away, you are safe. But Beatrix, you cannot. Your range is not that far. So if you don't know how to use Beatrix, or you are average in using Beatrix, this is the best I can give Beatrix. But if you are me, like personally for me as a Beatrix main, A tier for sure. A tier. If you are utilizing all of her guns, right? Shotgun, machine gun, grenade launcher, sniper, if you can utilize all of it, for sure A tier, no problem. On par with Bruno. If anything, right, she can fight with Clint. But then, that's for me, I know how to play, but not everyone know how to play. She is one of the, if not, one of the higher difficulty marksmen. That's why I'm gonna rate her below Lesley. Okay, let's continue. Melissa. Early mid game, late game. Easy choice. Because Melissa, right? Melissa is a Trinity build user as well. Melissa uses Trinity build. So the problem with Trinity build is you need items to give you damage. But then Melissa has a second skill, which is a doll, that provides you additional attack. So this helps in triggering the Trinity passive. So her power spike actually happens in the middle, in between DHS and Golden Star. You can already feel her power increase when you build this. Actually, even after Corrosion Sight, right, you can already feel it. Unlike Claude, I would say her power spike is actually earlier than other Trinity build user. So I'll say mid to late game. Okay, mid to late game. Level, in terms of level, her ulti does not actually help her damage. It's more to a survivability skill. It gives you a Archive out basically. So you don't really need her level 4. Long range, if you can utilize her second skill, place it at a good position, yes, she can attack from far away. Burst, if you are full items, you landed your second skill, her damage is actually like quite bursty. But I will not consider it as burst damage because right, you need full items for that. So no. She is in fact a DPS marksman. So in terms of mobility, she only has one dash skill, which is her skill 1. Not very mobile, but she does have another survivability skill, which is her ulti. So keep in mind. So other than that, ability to use Sea Halberd or Wind of Nature. She is a Trinity build user. Same goes for other Trinity build. You need 3 items, the Trinity build items. So she, at most, she can only go for one of it. Wind of Nature or Sea Halberd. You can try to replace Malefic Roar with Sea Halberd only if enemy don't have high physical defense. So that is Melissa. What do I feel about her? So after all I've said, right, after the factors, after the benchmarks, for my experience playing Melissa, she is in fact a very good marksman. If you know how to use her, if you are picking her with an intention, with a purpose, right? If you are picking her to counter the enemy, she can be A tier, top A tier if anything. If you don't know how to use Melissa, right? If you can't position your second skill properly, a second skill is useless. You don't have bonus damage. And also if you don't know how to use ulti, her ulti is also useless because it does not help you deal more damage. So because of that, she has a higher difficulty level for players to use. She's a bit harder to use. That's why I'll put her below Lesley. Next will be Roger. Okay, let's talk about Roger, guys. Let's talk about Roger. I'll talk about Lunox last. So now Roger, guys. Let's talk about Roger. Roger is another special hero. So he deals HP based damage in both of his form, human form and wolf form. I won't go into details like the hero. Like in human form, his HP base is based on max HP base, and then his wolf form is based on HP loss percentage. So I won't go into detail. Roger player, you know that he is early game hero for sure because of his passive alone, and also his wolf form first skill deals a lot of damage. His human form first skill also deals a lot of damage. So by skills alone, he's already having a huge advantage. Early game for sure. So Roger, right, he's strong throughout the entire game, early to late game. You rely on his passive, and then the more items you have, the more damage you're gonna deal. It's just simple math. It's a strong goal laner who can scale from the early game till the late game. So power spike. What is his power spike? Depending on what you build. If you go Trinity build, you don't really have to have the entire 3 items to have a power spike. All because, right, you are already having a mini DHS built in to your kit. Like your passive alone already is a DHS. So if you are not going Trinity build, you are going something like this. Something like what I'm building, my first build. Then your power spike items will not really matter until Endless Battle. Because of the true damage, right? So in that case, right, what you will be prioritizing is leveling up. Because his kit itself is already good enough, it already helps you deal a lot of damage. So you want to prioritize leveling up as fast as possible. So I'll say it's quite easy to play Roger because his power spike, it does not have a very obvious power spike. He's already strong throughout the entire game. Like early game already strong enough to the late game. He's always strong. So long range. Is he a long range? No, he is a very short range goal laner. Burst damage? Yes. Very bursty. DPS? Yes. I can see him becoming DPS because, right, he can keep dashing. He can try to lower you with human form. Then he can continue fighting with his wolf form. I can see him keep fighting for a long period. So burst and DPS for sure. Mobility is very special for him because his second skill provides extra movement speed. His ulti, the third skill, provides you a dash. And then if you are using a wolf form, your second skill provides you extra, even more movement speed if there's like a low HP enemy around you. So he's very mobile. One of the most mobile goal laner. Alongside Harith and Claude, right? And Moskov. So ability to use C Halberd, you can definitely use C Halberd, no problem. Like if I scroll down, right? Oh my god, no one is using C Halberd, but you can definitely use C Halberd because he already have a built-in DSS. All what you do to increase the damage is you attack more frequent. C Halberd provides you higher damage, higher attack stats, and also higher attack speed. So both of these stats actually scales very well with Roger. So feel free to use this item. Wind of Nature. This funny item. You don't use Wind of Nature on Roger. Roger is a hunter, guys. Roger is never the victim. If you play Roger and you're running away from an enemy, there's something wrong. So Wind of Nature just throw it out the window, guys. You don't even consider this item. The moment you consider Wind of Nature means something is wrong. something wrong. So that's it for Roger, honestly. Nothing much to say. His entire kit is just too good. Like even after the nerf, right, the recent nerf, he is still one of the best gold laner. If anything, right, the best gold laner. If you know how to use. Next. We have 4 more left. Karrie. Let's go with Karrie. How is Karrie, guys? How's Karrie? Is he a early, mid game, late game? Honestly, as a carry user myself, as a supreme carry, top Malaysia carry, she scales extremely well from early to late game. Yes, she is a good scaler. Early game, your first skill deals a lot of damage. Mid game is where you get your ulti and let's say you get 1 attack speed item, or you get endless battle. That's another power spike. So that will be your mid game. 2 attack speed item, you give her like a lot of boost. Late game is where because you already deal a lot of damage, right? Karrie also have these mechanics where her passive deals damage based on the enemy HP. So her passive will have 4 marks. If you can complete the 4 marks, it will deal HP based damage through HP based damage. So all of this actually scales very well from early to late game. So power spike, where is the power spike? Let me throw out the build. Depending on what you are building, so let's grab a common build. Example, this is a common build. If you are going Trinity build, your power spike actually happens at the second item. Okay, not the third item. You don't need DHS actually, because remember your passive is already a HP based damage, in true damage some more. So the moment you get golden staff, right, that is your power spike. What happens is golden staff helps you trigger your passive even more frequent. So by having this, it's good enough. That's your power spike. So if let's say you are going endless battle like this, like what I'm building here. Let's say you are building endless battle first. Right after your endless battle, right, that will be your power spike also. Because you are constantly using your second skill, you can keep triggering the true damage, similar to Clint. So this is your power spike if you are going endless battle. In terms of levels, getting level 4 helps a lot because level 4 basically helps you trigger her passive even faster. You are throwing 2 basic attacks instead of 1. So level 4 is quite important. Then let's move on to long range. She has short range, very short range, burst, very bursty. If you complete the items, right, if you go with endless battle, golden staff, the damage is quite insane. But if enemy is tanky, then you kinda need time. This is where the DPS comes in. So she is considered both burst and DPS marksman. In terms of mobility, she is one of the very mobile marksmen. Her first skill gives you a short dash, but then you can trigger it quite often. It's a very low cooldown dash. But then your ulti gives you extra movement speed. So by having these two, you can move fast, you can dash, you can also use flicker if you want. Purify, flicker, sprint. All of this can be worked on Karrie. But of course, AG's vengeance also can be used on Karrie. So she's very flexible, very flexible. Even her emblem, right? You can see you can either go fighter emblem, or you can go full marksman attack speed item. Not item, but emblem. She is a very flexible hero. Let's move on to C Halberd and Wind of Nature. She, in fact, can use both items very well. You can implement both items into her kit, and it will just work perfectly. One very flexible marksman. One of the most flexible marksmen, if anything. From a carry main, supreme carry, you know, from a supreme carry perspective, Karrie is a marksman that is general purpose. You know the Victorinox knife, the military knife that has everything inside? She is basically that guy. So because of the flexibility, alright, I'll put Karrie in A tier first. After this, then I will compare them. I'll put Karrie in A tier first. Because her kit is just too good and she is so damn flexible. So that's the advantage of Karrie herself. So let's move on. 3 more marksmen to go. 1-1. Okay, 1-1. Nothing much to say. Early game sucks. Mid game, if you get level 4, nice. Mid game to late game hero. No doubt. For sure, mid to late game hero. Power spike is where you get your level 4, okay? It's where you get level 4. For my experience, right? 1 power spike is where you get level 4 and also 1 attack speed item. So for example, if you get level 4 and also this corrosion side, you must have at least 1 attack speed item. By having these 2 and your inspire, that is your power spike. That is your power spike. But then, Wanwan is another special marksman where you don't just consider her damage power spike. You also consider her jumping, how do I call it? Jumping power spike. so for those who don't play Wanwan, right, you need to have a certain attack speed for you to jump faster than you walk. Something like that. For you to jump normal, naturally. Or something like that. So what this power spike happens around 2 or 3 attack speed items, depending on how comfortable you want it to be. For me personally, it happens after 3 items, where you can hop naturally. Like it don't feel like a delay, don't have a delay. You can hop as fast, not as fast, but faster than walking. This is like 2nd or 3rd item around there. So that's your jumping power spike. You can actually include that in the mobility section, because for Wanwan, she don't have any dash. Her dash is her passive, which is she can jump a bit right after each basic attack. So that is her mobility. She hop around like, you know, like a bunny. So is she a long range? She is not a long range attacker. Burst damage, she is not a burst damage attacker. She is in fact a DPS attack. She is a DPS attack. She needs time to pump up her damage. She cannot just boom, your HP is gone. No, she needs time to hit you constantly. So she is a DPS marksman. So we have already talked about mobility. Let's move on to item synergy. Okay, item synergy. So for Wanwan, like I said before, right, she sort of need a certain amount of attack speed so that you can hop normally. You can hop better. So Sea Halberd gives you 20% attack speed. Huge. You can use it. It synergizes her very well. Same goes for Wind of Nature. It gives you 20% attack speed. So both of these items, right, you can implement it, no problem. Also keep in mind, if you are subbing your Wind Talker just now with Sea Halberd, you are in fact dealing more damage. But you are jumping a bit slower, but you're dealing more damage. So it depends on what you prioritize in your 1-1. So another flexible yet not flexible marksman. Flexible because of this, what I said just now. Not flexible because she still needs certain attack speed. Similar to Harith, okay? Similar to Harith. This experience is very similar to Harith. Where Harith, you need to have a certain amount of cooldown reduction so you can spam your skill and dash constantly. Same goes for Wanwan. You need certain amount of attack speed so you can hop consistently. Okay, understand? Understand. In terms of spell choice, for Wanwan it's a bit sad because for Wanwan you need to have Inspire. If you remove Inspire from Wanwan's kit, if you, let's say you are not using Inspire, she is C tier, one of the worst. Worse than Kimmy for sure. You really need Inspire as your spell. So after all I said, right, honestly, Wanwan is not a good marksman in our current meta. She is a good marksman on paper. If you are a 1-1 player, you know how 1-1 works. She is way above Brody. But because, right, I can't place her in front of these heroes only because first of all, she has high difficulty. She relies on good ping. Yes, you need to have good internet to play 1-1. And then lastly, right, my experience playing 1-1 is in fact the most squishy marksman in the game. Like, more squishy than Layla. This is what I feel, at least. So you really need to know how to play this 1-1, this Tiger Girl, to be able to land her in B tier, at most top of the B tier. I can't put her in A tier because A tier is just all these marksmen, right? They just have a lot of advantage against a 1-1. So at most, more than Brody, less than Beatrix. This is all I can give her. Okay. Last one. Second last, Claude. Claude, early game sucks. Mid to late game, yes. Claude is a mid to late game marksman. If mid game you are not performing, late game for sure you can perform. But then, right, that being said, he do have a power spike similar to other Trinity build user. That is GHS, Golden Staff, you need them. So you need your Trinity items to have the power spike, you know, the damage power spike. nothing much to say, to be honest. Because Claude, right, his range is not that long. He's not burst. He's definitely DPS type. But the thing that separates him from other marksmen is his mobility, his second skill, and also his passive. Not passive, but first skill. His first skill gives him like full stack, gives him a lot of movement speed and attack speed. So if you combine the movement speed with the second skill, which lets you like teleport to and back and forth, right? You can teleport twice if I'm not wrong. So it's a very mobile marksman. He walks very fast also. This is what separates him from other marksmen. So ability to use Sea Halberd, it's quite rare to see him using Sea Halberd. Normally for Claude, because again, Trinity build user, you need to have 3 items at least for Trinity build. And also Claude, he does not have a very long range. He's kinda relying on Wind of Nature to outplay enemy. If you take out the Wind of Nature, right, you will die quite easily. He is quite squishy, to be honest. So you really need the Wind of Nature in his build. By having Wind of Nature, right, your last item is the only one you can change with Sea Halberd. So it depends on whether enemy got high physical defense or not. Then you judge it by yourself, you know. Go Sea Halberd or Malefic Roar. But honestly, right, it's very rare to see Claude using Sea Halberd. So yeah. For spell choice, quite flexible. Purify, Sprint, Aegis, Vengeance. Yep, go with anything. Not inspired. Not inspired. Before Moskov ulti, right? Before Roger is a gold lane. Before Harith is a gold lane. Claude is the S tier. Legit S tier. Because of his mobility and damage alone. But he got nerfed a bit. His damage got toned down a bit. Even though he got toned down, his late game is still scary. But then because of his mobility is still there, they never nerfed the mobility. He is always in the meta. He never left the meta. But the problem is, right, when you face a Claude, your early game Claude is just no impact at all. So I'll place Claude in the S tier if he has higher early game damage. But the thing is, his early game, right, just sucks. Compared to these 3, Roger, Harith, and Moskov, his early game just sucks. So because of that alone, A tier. His mobility is very good, one of the best mobility, but there's another problem. You need to know how to play Claude. So the basic of Claude is you need to maintain your stacks. One, you need to maintain stacks. Second is you need to know when to use ulti. If not, your ulti won't do damage. If you are facing against 3 or more enemy, right? Or 4 or more enemy, I forgot. Your ulti will do less damage. So that is another thing to worry about. And also the last one will be how you place your second skill. Some Claude that I've experienced in the rank game, that enemy Claude, they don't know how to play Claude. They just put their second skill right in front of your face. Because that is his only escape skill, right? What he's doing is he's removing his only mean of escape by simply putting his second skill. So you need to know how to place your second skill. It's very important. This is what separates a good Claude and a very bad Claude. Because of the difficulty alone, I need to move him down above Bruno. Less than Bruno. Okay, above Bruno. For sure above Bruno. Because of the late game potential. And speed push potential, for sure. So around A tier, middle of A tier. Okay, lastly, I don't think I want to cover Lunox because personally I have not seen any Lunox yet. So the last one will be Natan actually. Last one will be Natan, not Lunox. Natan. Natan is magic based damage. Early game he can rely on his skill to do damage. So his early game is actually quite strong. If you hit your skill and your ulti, his early game is quite strong. Mid game is where you hit 2 damage items or more, depending on what you build. So this is a Natan build. Depending on what you build, right, you get your power spike quite early in the mid game. The feather, if you get the feather is very important. After the feather, this is where you will feel a bit of power spike. The next power spike, the power spike will be Holy Crystal. So this is your first power spike, second power spike, Holy Crystal. In terms of level, you need your level 4 to deal extra damage. Without level 4, you are nothing. So you need to consider level 4 as your power spike as well. Next will be long range. Not that long to be honest. Decent but not that long. Burst, yes. If you have enough items, if you are landing your skills, this is the most important. You must land your skills. If you don't land your skill, your damage is gone. So if you can land your skill with your ulti, right, the double skill, he's in fact a burst damage healer. But let's say if you if you miss your skill, right, just want a basic attack, then yep, you can be considered DPS as well because of his ulti. So DPS and burst damage. Next will be mobility. Why? Okay, mobility wise, he does not have a dash. One, his ulti is considered a teleport, not a dash. Similar to Claude's second skill, you place a clone somewhere behind you or in front of you, then you tap once to teleport to that area. It's not a dash, it's a teleport. But the thing is, it's in his ulti slot, so cooldown is bound to be longer than a normal dash. But keep in mind, his passive is, if you can hit his skill, right, he can store stacks just like Claude, where the stacks will give you extra attack speed and also a bit of extra movement speed. Similar to Claude, if you can gain the stacks, you can maintain the stacks. You can move very fast. If you combine with his ulti, with his teleport, then he's actually quite mobile. He can be considered as a mobile marksman. But you must know where to put his ulti. Similar to Claude, you need to know where to put the Claude's second skill, right? Similar to him, Natan needs to know where to put your ulti. Because your ulti is used for damage as well. Can he use Sea Halberd and Wind of Nature? This is the Saki part, you know. If I'm not wrong, let me check. He still scales with physical damage. His basic attack sort of scaled a little bit off the physical attack. So having Wind of Nature is actually okay on him. The problem comes with Sea Halberd. For Natan, right, you never go Sea Halberd. You always go more damage and more damage. So this is the same thing with Harith. Both of them are magic damage. Both of them you wanna go as much magic damage as you can. So anti-heal is not your concern at all. So no Sea Halberd, not even Glowing Wand. Glowing Wand does not help him. So yeah, no anti-heal on him. But Wind of Nature is a good thing for him. In terms of spell, right, let me think. I see Inspire before. It's quite flexible in terms of spell. You can use all the spell you want. Purify, Vengeance, Aegis, Pick Up, Inspire, all of this. No problem. Our last marksman, Natan, the Time Traveler. So after all I said, Natan has already fallen off from the meta. He got nerfed quite heavily. The best I can rate him is behind A tier, somewhere in the A tier. The best I can rate him. His damage got nerfed significant, so yeah. Unless you're using Inspire, you are dealing not enough damage. This is what I can see from my experience at this. A tier. So this is my tier list for Go Lane. Not for marksman, but Go Lane. Hope that this tier list help you pick a better hero for ranking. And hopefully it gives you like an insight on how strong a marksman is when you are facing them or when you are picking them. And also hopefully it helps you decide who to ban. I don't have time to go through the win rate, ban rate, meta pick, all this. But then right, by looking at the tier list itself, you can sort of know that the S tier is most banned, A tier is not banned that often, S tier is probably have higher win rate than A tier. Yeah, you can sort of come to that logic for yourself. If you feel like it's useful, feel free to share with your friends, share it in your group, share it with your family, share it with your cats, share it with your dogs. Whoever play ML, right, just share it with them so they can be a better Go Laner. Don't forget to like the video, leave a subscribe if you want. We have more content like this, perhaps even more tier lists when the new patch come in, right? Or when Marksman got nerfed, Assassin's Go Lane, you never know. I will also cover the jungling tier list or other position tier list. So subscribe for more. Also, we have our Discord server. Feel free to join our Discord server. It's open to anyone. In fact, you can talk about any games inside. I play more than Mobile Legends. I play Mobile Legends, all the gacha games. If you are familiar with Hoyoverse, I play all the Hoyoverse games. Yes, I do play them. And also, yeah, feel free to talk about anything. You can also find buddy to rank with in the Discord server, as long as they are in the same server, right? So besides that, I also do gameplay analysis, so you can share your gameplay with me in the Discord server, in the gaming channel, and I will look into it. I will give you a detailed analysis on the entire gameplay, on where to improve, what kind of mistakes should you not be doing, and all those stuff, all those juicy stuff. Okay, thank you for watching. If you like the video, press the like button. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Thank you guys. Love you guys.